What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to talk a little bit about former President Trump. You guys know that he was found guilty in this hush money case. And so what happens next? And I want to talk about this because I happen to be an expert in this field. Okay, so I was a probation officer for 16 years. I worked for the probation department for about 21 years. And probation plays a major role, and they're going to play a major role in this case. And so we're going to talk about it because the next move, actually, a probation officer is going to sit down with former President Trump. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And once again, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to join our membership, please do click the join button below. You'll get customized emojis as well as custom badges. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. So a probation officer is going to need to sit down and interview former President Trump. And the probation officer is going to be creating what we call a pre-sentencing report. So now that former President Trump is convicted, he's a convicted felon, he is going to be sentenced by a judge. And so what the judge will do is the judge will order a pre-sentencing report. And that is generated by a probation officer. And so with a pre-sentencing report, and I'll be honest with you, I've read a lot of pre-sentencing reports, but I never had to write them because it was a separate department. So we have investigators in the probation department, and that's all they do is write these pre-sentencing reports. But they're very detailed, 30 pages, 40 pages. And so in these pre-sentencing reports, what the probation officer has to do is they have to start from birth, and they create a profile of former President Trump. Okay, so what are some of the things that the probation officer is going to investigate? So I jotted down some stuff. I don't want to miss anything. But in this pre-sentencing report, they're going to start from the beginning. So when he was born, were there any difficulties in pregnancy? Was his family, was his mother and father together? Were there any problems with that? Any police reports that were generated when he was a young child? And then they're going to talk to family. They're going to talk to friends. They're going to see if he has any mental issues. They're going to look at his criminal history. And in this case, he doesn't have any criminal history. However, they're also going to look at pending cases. And he has 3 open pending cases. And so they're going to have to factor that in. And then they're going to see if he's remorseful. Now, we know how former President Trump is. We saw him right after he was found guilty. We saw him talk about this whole situation. Did he sound remorseful to you? The investigator, the probation officer, is going to have to see, is he remorseful? And so he or she is going to put that in the report. They're also going to talk to victims. Now, in this case, the victims are the American people, so they're not going to be able to interview the American people, so you're not going to see that portion. They're not going to go into any detail when it comes to a victim, but they're also going to make a recommendation. So that probation officer will make a recommendation as far as should they serve custody time, should they serve some custody time in probation, should they, so that's what we're going to see. Now, this pre-sentencing report will go to the defendant's attorneys. It will go, and the defendant will be able to read it as well. It will go to the prosecution as well as it will go to the judge. The judge will use this pre-sentencing report, and so on July 11th, during sentencing, the judge will have this report. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if we will be able to see this report, because like I said, this report will be very detailed, and we'll have a lot of information, and so I don't know if they're going to release that or not. It would be nice because then we'll be able to see family history, we'll be able to see any mental or medical issues or anything like that. So this is going to be interesting. And then at the very end, we'll be able to see what the probation officer is recommending. And we'll be able to see, is the probation officer recommending custody time? So that will be interesting as well. Now, the judge doesn't have to go with a recommendation, but the judges usually use this. And I've written plenty of reports, not pre-sentencing reports, but probation violations all the time. Generally, the judge does go with the probation violations that you write, as long as you write a good probation violation, because you have all the details and you can tell the judge, you can walk the judge through, okay, this is the history, this is what the person did, this is how they violated their probation and all that. So usually the judge will go with your recommendation. And in a pre-sentencing report, it's just the same. They do all the work. Probation does all the work to compile this history on this person just so the judge will have that insight before they sentence this person to prison or jail or probation or what have you. Now, I'm going to give you guys what I think is going to happen ultimately when it comes to a sentence. The judge could sentence him to some time, okay? I think it's highly unlikely that the judge will sentence him to time, and the reason why I'm saying this is because in this situation, we're looking at a case where you have a former president running for president. If you lock him up, you put him in jail, you put him in prison, then obviously he's not going to be able to be out in campaign and do the stuff that he wants to do as far as running for president. So I think the happy medium in this case, because you can also put him on house arrest. That's another option. So you don't have to put him in custody. You can have him on house arrest, which is technically custody, but he won't be able to leave his house. But it'd be kind of the same thing. He's not going to be able to get out and campaign. And so I think since he's a first-time offender, the happy medium in this case is probably going to be probation. So he won't have to serve custody time, but he'll be placed on probation where he'll be supervised by a probation officer. Now, that time doesn't go away. They will suspend his sentence. So the judge will order, let's say, and I'll just give you an example, the judge orders 4 years. So 4 years state prison. So the judge can order that, but say, I'm going to suspend the sentence. You're going to be placed on probation for 3 years. I'm just giving you an example. So they'll be on probation for 3 years. They'll be supervised on probation. They give up a lot of their rights. So you no longer have your Fourth Amendment right. So someone can come to your house, a police officer, a probation officer can come to your house and search your belongings and all that. You don't need probable cause to do any of that. Okay, you give up that right. That's part of the terms and conditions of probation. And then you'll have a list of more terms and conditions. You need to submit to drug testing. You need to report as directed. You need to follow all rules and regulations that's set forth by your probation officer. And so if your probation officer tells you that you need to follow through and do something, you need to do it. If you don't, then you can be found in violation of your probation. And if you're found in violation of your probation, then guess what? That probation officer will arrest you and take you to jail, and then you'll appear in court, and then the judge will look at you and say, okay, why did you violate your probation? And then the judge will give you time, and they can give you, the judge can say, you know what, I'm going to give you the 4 years, your whole prison term, or the judge can say, you know what, I'm going to give you 90 days in jail, 180 days in jail. That's the way that it works. And so that's what I'm thinking is probably going to happen. Because if they place him on probation, he'll still be able to get out. He'll be able to do his campaigning and things like that. And then he'll just have to be supervised. And probation is voluntary. Former President Trump, if he's offered probation, he does not have to take it. Former President Trump could say, you know what? I don't want probation. I just want to do my time. And he can do his time. So if it's 4 years and the judge can order him to 4 years, or judge has discretion, so the judge can order less than 4 years, but it's voluntary. Probation, and I used to tell when I was supervising these guys on probation, I told them that all the time. Look, this is voluntary. You don't have to take this. If you don't want to, and because what will happen a lot, and I'm retired now. I did probation for, I was a probation officer for 16 years, and this happened all the time where you have people that are on probation, they get upset because you tell them, just like I said, you have to follow all rules and regulations set by your probation officer. I tell them they need to get a job, or I tell them they need to do something, and they say, well, no, I don't want to do that, or why should I have to do that? I tell them, you know what? This is voluntary. You don't have to be on probation. I'll write a probation report right now and send it to the judge and tell the judge that you no longer want to be on probation. And the judge is going to order you state prison. So if that's what you want, that's fine. And then usually they'll say, oh, no, that's okay. I'll go look for a job, or I'll go do this, or I'll go do that. And so that is what we're looking at right now when it comes to former President Trump. I think most likely he is going to get probation. And because he's a first-time offender, they do have programs for first-time offenders. They'll still be on probation, but they'll have to do community service and do different things, and maybe they'll have like 18 months to do those things. And if they complete those things successfully, then their record could be expunged in certain situations. Now, I don't know, when it comes to New York, I'm in California, so in New York, it might be completely different. They might not have programs like that, or those programs, he might not meet the qualifications for those programs, but that is something that is offered. So that's what we're looking at right now when it comes to former President Trump. And so on July 11th, we'll find out more. But right now, they're trying to figure out what probation officer is going to be writing this report, this pre-sentencing report. And they're going to start. They have to start now because it takes about a month for them to get all that information because they have to interview a lot of different people. They have to interview former President Trump. Like I said, they're going to have to get his medical records and all of that stuff so they can figure out what, so the judge will know who's before them before they give the sentence. So Judge Merchan will know his whole history before he gives him a sentence. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.